A wiser feller than myself once said, sometimes you eat the turd sandwich, sometimes the turd sandwich, well, it eats you.
We were just talking about Teo's lemonade Coke that he's making and trying to sell to Coke.
Yeah, Coke. Put lemonade in Coke and pay me for the idea. It's like a really simple premise. I'm absolutely not the first person to come up with this, but I'm the one who brought it up, so pay me.
It's not the thing for me, but I could see people liking it.
Oh, yeah. I like it. That's why I do it.
Yeah. I'm not a big lemonade guy, so that's why it's not for me. But I know there would be some people that's like, let me try this. And then if it is good, it spreads like wildfire sort of thing.
Yeah. Real quick for listeners who might be looking at the visual element of this right now, just want to let you know my little caption down there is not a cry for help. I just figured it was important to address this. I am going to sound very out of sorts today. I'm very tired and I'm very loopy. And I've had quite the week, emotionally speaking. But this is a quote from I Think You Should Leave. Yes. A show that me and Brandon have been quite vocal fans of in the past.
Yes. I want another season.
It was either this or I Hope I Don't Jack Off. Those were the two options for quotes. I thought this is probably the less abrasive of the two to have up for a 2.5 to 3 hour recording session.
Yeah. I was trying to think of others that are like less than 8 words long.
You're just here for the zip line?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
That'd be a good one. Screw you, Harley Jarvis.
Yeah, screw you, Harley Jarvis. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know why he performed the oral. He would have won without the oral.
The sloppy steak one, obviously. What was the line?
I used to be a piece of shit.
What was the line that he said to Steven Yeun?
You shouldn't have had such a sloppy mud pie.
that would be the one that.
Nobody likes your house anyway. There are a few good ones from the Steven Yeun skit.
Yeah.
Slurping down pig dicks with these.
Yeah, pretty much everything she says could be one.
Why are you guys bullying me?
Oh gosh, yeah. So, listener, go watch that right now.
I Think You Should Leave is incredible. Yeah, even my sister likes it, and she has terrible taste in media.
Yeah, I think I watched it with my sister, and she likes most of it. So that's good. I think it's really funny. Of modern comedy stuff, it's definitely up there.
It's all the stuff that was too weird for SNL.
Yes. Yeah. Because from what and you've probably seen it, or you probably even know more than me about it, but from what I've seen is like, not a lot of Tim Robinson stuff that he put out there on the writing table made it into SNL. Yeah. Like they turned down almost every idea he ever had.
Yeah. No, that's about all I know about it. I think you probably know more than I do.
Yeah, I know that, and it's similar to like to Norm Macdonald. Yeah, I mean they're very different comedians, but Norm Macdonald, when he was on SNL, he had a similar thing because he was only on the cast for I don't know 2 or 3 years, maybe.
He got fired for doing too many OJ jokes.
Yeah, he got fired for doing too many OJ jokes.
Just wouldn't let it go.
Yeah. But on top of that, like before he started doing the weekly update, he would turn in like skit submissions and stuff, or sketch submissions, and like almost all of them got turned down. They never used any of his stuff.
Are you planning on going and seeing that Saturday Night Live movie in the theater?
There's a Saturday Night Live movie?
Yeah, it's it looks like it's like a biopic kind of about Lorne Michaels. But it's I think it's focusing on the first production of Saturday Night Live, like the first live showing.
Oh, so like the first night?
Yeah, like the first night they did it live.
Okay. That actually makes me interested.
Yeah, and like I'm not familiar with any of the actors in the movie for the most part. Like I don't really recognize any of them. But like they all really look their parts. The guy they got to play Chevy Chase really looks like a young Chevy Chase. The guy who plays John Belushi looks like a young John Belushi. And like original Saturday Night Live, like literal first season Saturday Night Live is actually the SNL I have the most like experience watching. Because my family growing up, my family had a DVD box set of just the first season. We didn't have any other seasons; it was just the first season, and it was so that was, kind of formative for me early on, I suppose, as far as comedy goes.
Yeah. For me,
I always loved running bits like Generalissimo Francisco Franco is still dead.
Yeah. Like well, first before I talk about like my thing with SNL, that movie, is there a trailer out yet for it? Or
oh yeah, I saw the trailer for it at Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh wow. I'll have to look it up or something.
I think the movie's just called Saturday Night.
Okay.
Because the whole thing live from New York, it's Saturday night with Chevy Chase blinking a hurricane.
Yeah. Because at first I thought it was like when you said Lorne Michaels biopic, I assumed it was either going to be about the life of Lorne Michaels, like that's all it's about, or it's about like him and you see the multiple decades of Saturday Night Live throughout the movie. And both of those I don't like.
Like for me, the vibe that I get is that the movie is about his ambition to make it work and what a nightmare that first night was.
Yeah. If all of it is mostly about him trying to make it work and the focus of the production being the first night, like half the movie is just the production of this trying to happen, like I'm sold, because like there's actually some really good movies about like this thing being made. Like it's a movie, but it's like about making a movie or making this or whatever.
Yeah, I recommend looking up the trailer for it because I don't quite know how to explain like what I think the movie is supposed to be about, like what the general plot is, because it seems like it's all supposed to be taking place on that first Saturday night.
Okay, that makes me even more intrigued. I'm gonna have to look up the trailer because those other options I had mentioned, that's your typical biopic stuff that like is modern day, that in my opinion it's not bad, but it's just so meh and so mediocre. Like it's,
I know, because there was also a trailer for, I think it's a Bob Dylan biopic with Timothée Chalamet. I think it's Bob Dylan is the guy he's playing. I don't know any of those. I don't know all of the old musicians by name.
Gosh, literally everyone. I know they're coming out with like a Michael Jackson one. Everyone's getting a freaking biopic. I'm so tired of these biopics.
And like for me, if you're gonna do a biopic, do it more like what this Saturday Night one is doing, where it's less about their whole life and more about just the most important moment of their life.
Yes, like and a good example of this, like what you're saying, it's a little bit different than this, but it is kind of this. It's the Michael Fassbender Steve Jobs movie. I like that. And Ashton Kutcher's Jobs movie is good as well, but I think I like the Steve Jobs one more because it's basically split into 3 acts. Yeah. It's the first act, like the first 30-40 minutes is the setup to the announcement of like the first Mac computer.
Yeah.
Basically.
Okay.
And it's like them like setting up and stuff, and then him going on stage and all that. But it's a bunch of behind the scenes stuff, and you're seeing like the build up to this presentation, basically, all within like this morning or this afternoon sort of thing. And then it like goes forward 10 years in the second act, and it's another presentation. It's the presentation of whatever was the next big Mac thing. And actually, I think it was like something that flopped big, that tanked Apple. And then the last act is the iPhone.
Okay. Oh, that's actually the perfect way to like structure it too, because then you get that low point in the second act where it's like,
yeah.
And like the redemption in the third act.
And that's the thing is like, yes, the set pieces are, he's about to do a presentation for these big things for Apple, but you're having all these conversations with like publicists as well as like family, because Steve Jobs had a lot of family issues throughout his entire life. Like, you're having all this stuff while he's getting ready for the presentation and stuff. And I think it's just well done. It's also Aaron Sorkin is the guy who wrote it, and he does like amazing writing and dialogue. So
yeah, very snappy dialogue.
Yeah, like The Social Network, it might not be my favorite movie, but it's one of my favorite movies. Like he wrote The Social Network, and it's just, I don't know, it's very entertaining. You feel like you wouldn't give a crap about Facebook and that was also another thing. Social Network was like a little ahead of its time regarding the whole Facebook thing, because when it came out, Facebook wasn't even as big as it was or would be like 5 years later, sort of thing. Because that came out like 2011 or 2010.
Yeah.
And Facebook really boomed in like 2012, 2013, that sort of thing. But I don't know. I got lost on a rabbit hole. All that's to say, Aaron Sorkin does great dialogue. And this SNL movie, that's what it was.
Yeah.
This SNL movie, if it is just focused on the first night, like trying to make it happen and all that stuff, I'm sold. So I'll probably watch a trailer later today on that. Speaking of trailers,
we live in one now.
Yes,
we're recording out of our trailer.
Yes,
we're selling meth on the side.
Yes, life is good.
Walter White is afraid to come onto our turf.
Yes, I'll grab that bald head loser.
Yeah.
Now I'll shove his face in an X-ray machine.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to get cancer again.
Yeah. I'm going to give you ultra cancer.
But a trailer that and I'm not saying this as like a rage bait thing, me bringing this up, but I was going to briefly talk about the Snow White trailer. Have you seen the Snow White trailer?
I've not, but it's woke garbage. It's, what else can I say? Hang on. Woke is really the only thing they ever say about anything.
Yeah, that's all they ever say about it.
I don't know. Just like copy paste the transcript of like a Critical Drinker video and just put it here, I guess. And...
Exactly. No, see, my thing with it, like everyone is like bashing the trailer, and it's for these reasons and stuff. And like at the end of the day, I was never going to see a live action Snow White movie.
No,
whoever made it, I had no interest in a live action Snow White movie, no matter what. If you're putting politics, like those that are reviewing this trailer and stuff, if you're putting politics into it, I don't care what side it could have been, I would have not watched a live action Snow White.
And for me personally, I only even care about the animated Snow White as a cartoon nerd, like in a historical context.
Right.
Like that's the only relevance that the old Snow White has to me, is that it's the first feature-length American animated film.
Yeah.
Like that's it. That's the only reason I care about it.
when I saw the trailer, and I recommend like watching the trailer. I'm not saying it's like good or great, but like for this thing I'll mention, I didn't have the reaction that everyone else did. That was like, what is this garbage, like this woke garbage or whatever.
Yeah.
My reaction was more, man, they should have just made this whole thing animated / CG.
Yeah.
Because
keep talking. I'm gonna mute my microphone and watch the trailer while you're talking.
Okay, yeah, and watch the trailer. You'll see what I mean. There's actually some pretty decent to good animation in it, like CG animation that I think looks good. To where I think these live action elements, which are really just Snow White and Gal Gadot as the bad guy, I forgot her name, Maleficent, whatever. These two live action characters, just everything else is animated / CG. Let's just make them animated / CG. I think the animation in CG doesn't look bad. Tweak the dwarves' faces a little bit. A couple of them are a little bit nightmare fuel, but I like the animation style of them. I don't know. I think the live action thing is what is throwing this off, because everything else around Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot is CG animation. So why can't Snow White and Maleficent just be CG animation? It'd make it look a lot better. But since they're live action, since they're real, it just gives a weird effect to it. Like that's ultimately my thought with this is everything with this movie, the CG animation in the background and the dwarves and all that, keep that. I think it looks fine. Just no live action stuff. That was the issue, was, hey, let's do live action. Let's do live action everything. Let's do freaking live action Mufasa, which
isn't live action. Sorry, I just watched the trailer. I heard everything you were saying, and
yeah, you're good.
Yeah, it could have been just a fully CG animated thing, and then like that also would have like raised the question, well, why make it again at all if it's going to be animated again anyway? But yeah, no,
but what I'll say with that real quick though is, yes, ultimately the previous animated Snow White does for the most part hold up in terms of the animation. But what I mentioned with like the CG animation is not to replace the 2D Snow White, but more just like, hey, like here is you'd have to find a PR team that could say this better or market it better. But here is like the modern animation, what it would look like, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And we actually tried. It's not like we threw it to Illumination and was like, here, do it.
Yeah.
Like we actually tried with the modern animation that we have. And this is what modern animated Snow White looks like.
Which, to be honest, these live action remakes of all the old animated Disney stuff, as far as the way they sand down the edges of it all, it's basically Illumination movies anyway.
Yeah.
Because Illumination movies are made to be as like broadly appealing and inoffensive as humanly possible.
Right.
For the like as cheap as they can get it for the maximum profit. Yes. And that's really what Disney's live action remakes like are doing as well. They're like, yeah, it's time to update it for a modern audience, which means make it boring, strip every character of anything that makes them interesting, because it runs the risk of making them come across as unlikable for even half a second.
I'm trying to find something. The only difference with modern Disney trying to do the live action stuff, it like live action / CG mix, because it is live action, but most of it's CG.
Yeah.
It actually just cost more, and it and it's not as good and doesn't look as good. Because like I'm going to look up another example that there wasn't a reason that this one came up to mind as first, but like The Little Mermaid, the live action one cost $240 million to make.
Yeah. And that movie, I assume, was mostly animated anyway.
Yeah. This new Snow White is apparently $209 million budget.
Oh my God. They made the original Snow White for a nickel. But I don't know how much the original Snow White cost, but probably nowhere near the millions.
Right.
I mean, of course, inflation plays a role in calculating costs retroactively, but yeah, man, like, and it's like you said, like, it looks worse because we're not getting, it's mostly animated, but we're not getting these like expressive and colorful characters. Like when you watch the original Dumbo, you feel for Dumbo because he doesn't look like a sad elephant. He looks like a sad baby. Like But like you watch Tim Burton's Dumbo. I shouldn't lay all the blame on Tim Burton. That's unfair. But like you watch the Dumbo remake, and that's just a sad elephant.
Yeah.
And like it still makes me feel sad because elephants are beautiful animals and I don't like seeing them sad. But it's still just a sad elephant.
Yeah.
And like the Lion King. In the original Lion King, all those characters are so expressive and they have readable expressions and personalities.
They have no expression at all.
Like in the remake, because they all had to be photorealistic, so it could be air quotes live action. They're so unexpressive and so boring to watch.
It is. It really is. Like, and it is literally like line for line, shot for shot remake, and it's not as good. There's only a few moments where it is like something new, and when that happens in the new Lion King, I was actually kind of happy / excited because I was like, oh, something that isn't from the original, that is lesser because it's. Yeah, it's everything they're doing is lesser. So if you have some original stuff, it stands out. And that came with like Timon and Pumbaa. There were like some lines and exchanges they had where I was like, ooh, like that's new. That wasn't in the first movie or the original movie.
Yeah, you know what I really wanted, Disney, was I wanted the Lion King again, but this time Simba's eyes are dead. Just the dead eyes of a real lion.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like, hold on, I actually
want to doing that with they should start doing that with the human characters now. Remake Tarzan, but make him look dead inside, like he's a shell, like he's an empty vessel with no soul.
Okay, I was making sure it didn't have good reviews. I know that sounds mean, but I was hoping live action Lion King didn't have good reviews. It didn't. It's 52% Rotten Tomatoes, 55% Metacritic.
Yeah.
But what's crazy about that is I'm pretty sure it made like $1.6 billion. And at the end of the day, Disney is just looking at, hey, what make money?
Yeah.
And so their lesson was, well, live action Mufasa prequel.
Yeah. Because that's a story everyone cares about, right? That's something that's something we need to know. That's something that, like, I'm not usually this guy of the nobody asked for this. Nobody asked for anything. Shut up. But like at the same time, like you look at this, it's like seriously, who cares?
Yeah.
Like the Disney, everybody who says nobody asked for this and who cares about the Disney live action remakes, you get a pass. You're allowed to say that about those ones. Nothing else. And nothing else is quite as like egregious, but like, yeah, like
some people's opinion might differ than mine on this, but even if it was like traditional animation, I still wouldn't have cared. In terms of a Mufasa prequel, I don't care at all. I like Mufasa as a character, but it's like with everything else that Disney does with any property they get a hold of, whether it's Star Wars, whether it's this, that, we have to explore every nook and cranny of the slightest. I mean, not saying Mufasa was a slight character, but like he was a great character in Lion King. Let's now explore everything that made him that character. We can't just have nuance. We can't just have people think about what his past was. No, we have to show it.
Yeah, like I thought that there are lions, and he's like the lead male lion. He's the dominant male lion. I thought that was the beginning and the ending of the explanation right there.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
All you need.
That's all you need. Mufasa was the Lion King.
Yeah.
Until he got killed.
Yeah.
So like you don't it's like I don't know, man. Dang, dude. Well, it's like this is one of those things where it's like I know in my heart I should not care this much about like what they're doing, but like at the same time it's like it's so frustrating to think about, because like this is literally the only company where I look at their output and I think those resources could have gone to something else.
Oh, for sure. The amount of money and time that gets spent on these stuff is bigger than most projects will ever see. And it's always mediocre to like, that was okay.
Yeah.
That's almost all of it. It's never, I mean, at least for the past like 10 to 20 years.
Yeah.
It's rarely like, that was really good.
And the thing is, unfortunately, Disney isn't totally to blame. They're just they're chasing after the that high, that reward, you know. They're just playing the game. It's like at least 50% of the blame for this does fall on the audience, because they're the ones making it profitable. They're the ones still going to the theater to see it. It doesn't matter whether or not they like it, they're still paying for it.
Yeah, that is the one thing, is like whether it's a mediocre thing or not, if you see these icons and these things everywhere in terms of marketing, whether it's toys, whether it's trailers that you're seeing on TV, whether it's Hulu, Netflix, whatever, and the few people that still do cable, like all these marketing things that you see from Disney, because Disney has that money to the point where you have again, I'm not trying to go on the Star Wars route, but it's more Disney as a whole. You see like on a sack of oranges, a Star Wars thing attached to your package of oranges you're buying.
Every single orange is carved to look like the Death Star.
Like you got a bundle of bananas, and the sticker that's on the banana is some sort of Star Wars ad. It's ridiculous. But I say all that.
This is what Yoda's penis looks like. Weirdly smooth, don't you think? And big.
Yeah.
His size.
Be sure you get ones that aren't ripe yet.
Yeah.
Then it truly is Yoda's penis.
Yeah.
The other one is whenever Yoda gets a really bad infection. It's very yellowish. It gets black spots.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. Like I mentioned all that to say, like, everyone sees these advertisements, these subtle advertisements everywhere, to where it's like, okay, yeah. And I should say everyone sees that, and their kids also see it. And there's usually not a ton of kids movies that come out in theater nowadays, quality ones, I should say, to where it's like, oh, mommy, I see this sticker on our banana thing, our banana bundle that has a icon for Mufasa. I remember seeing that trailer on Netflix after watching Coco Melon. Let's go watch Mufasa. Yeah, it's just like, you can have a mediocre product, but if you have the best marketing reach out of any production company, you're going to make bank.
Yeah.
But
plus, Disney's got China wrapped around their little finger.
Yeah. Yeah, got a lot of money coming through China, but
as long as you edit out all the black people, then your movie is okay.
yeah, I'm surprised the recent Star Wars trilogy. I'm surprised like China allowed that.
Yeah, they had to make Finn a lot smaller on the Chinese posters, and I think they took.
Oh, you're right. No, yeah, I
but,
forgot all about that. Yeah,
and like the Black Panther poster for China, in America,
he had the
he
mask
doesn't
on,
have
right?
the helmet on, but in the Chinese poster, he's got the helmet on.
That's so
that you can't see that he's actually black underneath it.
It's so bad.
I mean, those people are gonna find out when they go to see the movie. What are you gonna deep fake a Chinese guy over his face?
Yeah, they deep fake a Chinese guy over his face, but they keep Chadwick Boseman's voice. Yeah, where it's like this doesn't match up. Like,
I did not surrender, and as you can see, I am not dead. For all future MCU projects that have a black actor anywhere in the mix, which is extremely likely because they've been increasing their black cast in these movies. They just take a scan of Simu Liu's head.
Yeah, and they just put it on Anthony Mackie's head for all the frames of the new Captain America.
Yeah, now every movie is a Shang-Chi movie in China. Simu Liu doesn't even like China.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you know, his family had to work hard to get out of there. He's I think he's told stories about it in like interviews and stuff. But yeah, yeah, man. But like that just makes me think like I want like there had to have been like a whole theater full of Chinese people going to see Black Panther. They're like, oh, I'm excited. I'm not super familiar with the character. I missed Civil War, so I'm just coming to see what's up. And then they go and they see that he's black, and they're like, wait a minute.
What the hell is this?
What the hell is this? They go to the theater manager. You tricked us.
Just walk out of the theater. Oh gosh. But yeah, Disney, China is a big market.
Yeah.
Don't squish them out. Obviously, they pay a lot of the bills, but I mean, just do something original, please.
Yeah, please.
Something original, or just like, I don't know, just feels like, because obviously like there are creatives that are a part of these projects that do put a lot of heart and soul into it. There are. I'm not denying that, but like the choice to do these has nothing to do with that. Like the people up top who are making these choices don't care about that at all. And I just wish they can still have that thought of like, we need the bottom dollar because it is a business, but like, I don't know, just make something creative.
Yeah, I can imagine a Disney executive sitting in his office smoking $100 bill. Thinking like, yes, what will be our next bazillion dollar idea? What about that? People like that lion, the Mum Fister. We'll make a movie about Mum Fister.
Oh, yes.
Yes. It's Mufasa, sir. You're fired. Don't ever correct me again. You just fired me, sir. How am I supposed to... There it is! You're doing it right now. I can shoot you with 0 consequences. You know that, right? Yes, sir, I know.
Now,
you signed up for a Disney Plus free trial 6 years ago, which means I'm legally allowed to kill you, and your family can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
I could hang you from my window. And
It's
no
right
one will
there.
say peep.
It's right there. It's in the terms of services.
It's in the terms of service. I am allowed to hang you from my window.
Man, what's crazy is like that news breaking a week or two ago about the guy, his wife, like how tragic that is. But what's crazy is like South Park, like 14 years ago, making an episode about not Disney, but it was the Apple terms of services where Kyle, I think it's Kyle, he signs the terms of services and all that for the recent iOS update, and he gets like kidnapped and captured by Apple. Have you seen this episode or no?
I've not seen that episode.
Okay, he gets kidnapped / captured by Apple, and they have a thing that they're making called the human centipede. And it's basically the human centipede.
Yeah.
But it's an iPad on the front guy. and it runs off of like feeding this human centipede. And Kyle is in the middle. He's like between the two people.
That's horrible.
It's really funny.
Well, if you think about it,
it is just clowning on the whole like terms of services thing where it's like no one actually reads this, and they joke about it in the show where like everyone reads it, like Butters reads it and everything. They're like, what are you talking about, Kyle? You don't read the terms of services? Like, what's wrong with you? Like stuff like that. But
yeah and even just with like the most recent season of Black Mirror, they kind of touched on that with the I think Joan is Terrible is the name of the episode.
Oh yeah, the Netflix one. Yeah,
like they kind of touch on that sort of thing too. They really can, like, because nobody reads those. Because the thing is, if you don't sign it, you can't use the thing. So who's not going to sign it even if you do read it?
Exactly. Yeah, I saw a couple good videos about that. I don't know if it was a Moist Critical one or someone had talked about how like there was someone that was like kind of bashing people of like, well, just don't use it. But it's like there's things that we have to use like in our day-to-day life, not talking about like streaming services, but there's other things that we have to use, that we have to sign like agreements in terms of services to where it's like we have to use this thing. Like we won't be able to like get on with our lives without this thing. I forgot specific examples or medical examples and different stuff, but it's like,
and also signing the terms and services for a streaming service should not give a company the right to cause someone's wrongful death and just get away with it.
Oh yeah. As a whole, it shouldn't, but especially this case where it's like it was a free trial the guy signed up for like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah,
like that is ridiculous.
Like they had to do some digging to find literally any loophole to not pay out to this guy for murdering his wife.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. It very much is Vought Industries. I mean that's what like Vought was going for with the Boys TV show and stuff, was Disney and that celebrity culture sort of thing. But it feels like something from the Boys. The Boys does these like joking, satirical things here and there, like with this company making this decision or whatever. Like they did the stuff, they did like the fake the Kylie Jenner Pepsi commercial thing.
Yeah,
they did that with A-Train and stuff, and they do that funny stuff. But I mean, this sounds exactly like something from the Boys, where it's like, oh, you signed up for Vought Plus trial 10 years ago, sorry, like nothing we can do. And actually, since you came after us, we're now going to sue you.
Yeah,
that would probably happen in the Boys.
Yeah, and like So, like, the technocratic dystopia that we were promised in, like, Blade Runner and all these other, like, cool pieces of media, like, we were supposed to have robot eyes and like computers in our brains, and like it was supposed to be so much cooler than this.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But no, now we're getting caught losing loved ones to terms and service agreements, and yeah, it's just, and like worrying about whether or not our cell phones are consistently snitching on us.
Yeah, which they are.
But yeah, that's okay. I don't do anything illegal anyway.
No.
Do you hear that? I don't do anything illegal anyway.
Let me put my phone up to my mouth. I pinky promise no illegal activity happens from me.
Yeah.
I'm putting my pinky on the phone. Okay. Zuckerberg, Bezos, all you guys, you hear me?
Yeah.
Nothing illegal. All right, back to selling meth out of our trailer. But yeah, it's one of those things. I now want to transition to something more upbeat than Disney. I want to transition to actual creatives that are actually doing something creative. Teo brought this to my attention like 2 hours ago, dealing with the Love, Death, and Robots creators and a new project they have going. So I'll let him take that away.
So it is called Secret Level. It's coming to Amazon Prime, I believe in December, if I'm remembering correctly. And it is an animated anthology series that is going to be a collection of short films about various video game or general gaming franchises, including God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, Mega Man, Warhammer 40K, Dungeons and Dragons, and etc.
Dude, this is awesome. I had no idea till right now what this actually was or what they were making. I'm down. Like it could have been literally anything.
Yeah.
I think this is cool.
What I find insane is how they were able to get the license for all of this series.
Stuff. Yeah.
All of those franchises for this one anthology series.
Yeah. Maybe it's like a mutual thing where like they almost didn't really have to pay for any of with some of the licenses, where it's like, hey, like you guys do great work. Like if you want to do something, yeah, go ahead. Like,
yeah, like, because to me it would have been just as exciting if it was just PlayStation stuff or just Capcom or
right,
or like just like one particular developer or publisher or something. But for them to get them from like across different consoles and different publishers and developers, and because like even like having God of War and Ghost of Tsushima both represented, because I believe Ghost of Tsushima is one of them, but like I know those are both PlayStation exclusives, but they're both from different first party developers, with God of War being from Sony Santa Monica and Ghost of Tsushima being from Sucker Punch. So like even that would have presented like its own difficulties, even though they're on the same console. And like other stuff like Sifu, like getting a short film about Sifu in there, that sounds really exciting.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the list. Let's see. Okay. Pac-Man, dude, they Mega Man, like,
yep.
Holy crap. Crossfire. Okay, I know this probably isn't what it's talking about. I think of Crossfire, the somewhat board game thing.
I think there's a video game called Crossfire.
Yeah, I'm sure that likely
Armored Core is one of the ones in there.
Yeah, I never played it, but my cousin played it. I'm down. Like half of these properties I don't know a lot about or don't have the biggest interest in, but I mean, if this team is making it, it might be the thing that gets me into that thing.
Oh yeah, I would trust the Love, Death, and Robots guys with my life.
Yeah.
I would trust them with my firstborn.
Yeah.
Like Love, Death, and Robots by itself is such a solid series all the way through that I'm totally for this. And as long as they're allowed to do literally whatever they want with these stories, then like heck yeah, I'm all in.
I hope this does good so that it is potential for not just more video games in the future through this series, but also just like them being able to do like whatever license property sort of thing.
Well, that and like someday I would like to see these guys make a movie.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah,
like a feature length, theatrically released.
Yeah, movie. Yeah. I would love to see that.
The dedication to mature, and I mean like actually mature, not just adult oriented, but like actual mature themes and topics and stuff that isn't talking down to you like you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Like the Love, Death, and Robots team is fantastic with like curating the stories that they tell.
Yeah. Man, looking at this gives me a little more hope. It's not a lot of hope, but it gives me a little more hope that it wouldn't be the Animatrix, but essentially Animatrix 2.
Yeah.
Or something like that happens with this team, the Love, Death, and Robots crew, making these Matrix shorts. Because I don't know, like after reading the Matrix comic and watching the Animatrix, some of the best stuff about the Matrix is the short stuff.
Yeah.
And with this team, it'd be the best thing it ever could be. And the reason I have a little bit more hope is, yes, Matrix 4 did not do good, and it wasn't an amazing movie. It wasn't great.
No.
Surprisingly, they must have made enough because I think they're coming out with a Matrix 5.
Yes,
I'm
I
not
think
for that.
Oh yeah, I don't think either of the Wachowskis are involved.
Yeah, I'm not for that, but it's something. It's a big thing I'm willing to let happen, even though I don't want it at all, if it gets me closer to this team doing something with the Matrix.
Willing to let happen. Like, all right, I won't bomb Warner Brothers Studios yet. We'll see how the Matrix 5 does.
Please have Matrix 5, and in the midst of it doing big, go ahead and order this thing, because I don't know if Matrix 5 is going to make money. It probably won't. But before it releases, order something from these guys, Warner Brothers, so that you're locked in and you have to do it.
Well, hey, you know what? Like if these guys, get big enough and are allowed to just do what they want to do, they might actually get that heavy metal revival that Love, Death, and Robots was supposed to be to begin with.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Because they started Love, Death, and Robots as a heavy metal revival.
Right.
But for some reason, the license specifically to heavy metal fell through. So upon realizing that heavy metal doesn't have to be anything specific and they can kind of just keep going with their ideas anyway, they just renamed it and kept going. Pretty much.
Which works. I mean, like heavy metal is big, but it's not that big.
No.
So it wasn't a ton of name recognition that you're getting from that. So it's like, yeah, you just create your own thing, your own name for it.
Yeah.
That has me excited.
But another thing in the world of video game based adult animation, the second and final season of Arcane is coming out this November on Netflix.
Oh, so second season is the final season. Okay.
Yes. Now here's the thing. The League of Legends people, the developers, I can't remember their name. I think they're called Riot.
Mm-hmm.
I think Riot Studios is what they're called. They and the animation studio that they've been working with for this show, Fortiche, I think is how it's pronounced. They have said that Arcane is not the only thing they're working on together.
Oh,
and League of Legends is a big world.
Yeah, yeah.
So like Arcane was just about the Zon Piltover conflict from League of Legends, like within the lore of that game. Because League of Legends doesn't really have a story; it just has lore.
Yeah.
So if they do anything else, they're probably going to do it like with new shows under different titles. But from the look of it, they're keeping it like every story is going to be a short and sweet, probably 6 to 12 episodes, or 9 to 18 episodes, I think is what it would be. Because I think once this second season is through, Arcane will be 18 episodes in total, assuming they do another 9.
Right.
And I love their release model for Arcane too. The way they did it back in 2021 for the first season was it ran for 3 weeks, and every week they released 3 episodes. So every week you were getting like one full act of the story.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember us talking about that a couple of years ago.
They were basically in terms of content dropping a 3-hour movie every week.
Yeah, yeah. I like that release model. Like, yes, I like to binge one thing all in one go, but whenever like Netflix drops a show in its entirety, yes, it's good, but it's like in terms of it staying in the populace, it doesn't stay that long.
Yeah,
like,
no, everybody forgets about it.
Exactly. It can be really good, like the Daredevil stuff, but like it all dropped at once to where people talked about it for 2 to 3 weeks, and then okay, what's the next thing that's happening? Whereas if Daredevil did have this type of model, I think Daredevil would be much bigger than it is today.
Yeah.
I think we would be looking at an MCU that would have already had Daredevil and that sort of stuff in it.
Yeah, probably.
But no, I like that release model. I still got to see the first season. I'll probably see it soon. It has been high on my list.
I was going to say, at this point, with us being so close to literally the end of the story, you might just want to wait for all of season 2 to be available and then binge the entire thing.
I might do that. At the very least, I might like watch the first season like a week before season 2 starts coming out, and then keep up with it till it ends.
It's a guaranteed 18 hours of really solid content.
Nice.
So, because the animation looks fantastic. I think I talked about it back when it came out. Because back in 2021, the first season of What If like came out like only a couple months before Arcane did.
Right.
And the two shows visually look kind of similar, but the thing is, I said Arcane kind of reminds me of What If What If was willing to look dirty.
Right. Yeah.
And
as well as like, I haven't seen a lot of Arcane. I've seen like some of the Corridor Digital stuff. Like they've reviewed some of the Arcane stuff before, and like some of those action scenes and stuff look freaking amazing.
They're great. Like some of the best. Like I'm of the opinion that Vi gets all the best fights in the show because she just punches people.
Mm-hmm.
But like the fight scenes are fantastic. And some of them go for a good while too.
Yeah. So I'll probably watch it. Did you say they do have a release date or they don't?
November. They've just said November. So I don't know when the first cluster of episodes is dropping. It's probably going to be 3 Saturdays in a row like it was last time.
Yeah. Okay, that's sooner than I thought.
Honestly, though, at first when I heard that season 2 was going to be the finale, I was a little disappointed that the story wasn't going to be longer. But you know, like once it sunk in, and like I also thought about the fact that it's been a 3-year wait for this second season. It's like it's better that they know how far this story can go,
right?
Than to try and stretch it out.
That makes sense. Yeah.
it means that they aren't just looking to milk this story just because it's popular for as long as it can possibly go, because then it's just going to turn into Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Yeah. They know where the story ends, and they're ready to get there when it's right.
Yeah.
Unless it comes out rushed, in which case I'm going to be like, what the heck?
Which I would be surprised. Like 3 years makes me think they took their time on it.
Oh yeah, they really had to spend their time tightening this thing up. And
yeah, for like the modern landscape of like stuff coming out and sequels coming out and all that stuff, like that time frame makes me think the studio took their time on it, which is like encouraging. That Stranger Things thing though, that is very true. I'm glad this next season is the last season. I like Stranger Things, but yeah, it can get repetitive. I liked season 4. I'm still a stan for the end of season 3. Could have been the end of it. I know it's the somewhat sad ending, but also like, hey, like people are moving away, going to different towns, and they're going to be starting high school sort of thing. I know, but that would have been an okay ending to me. Like it literally seemed like a series ending rather than a season ending. That's a whole nother topic, but yeah, Stranger Things isn't bad, but like what you said, it shouldn't have been 5 seasons. I think it, and I'm not even saying like end at how season 3 ended. I think it could have been 3 to 4 seasons. You just condense the material you have into 3 to 4 seasons. But yeah, I briefly want to mention something with this. I'm not going to do spoilers or anything like that if you haven't seen or anything. Have you seen the most recent Alien movie?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I listened to the Weekly Planet review of it already, though.
Okay, I gotcha. They went somewhat spoiler territory.
Oh yeah, they always do.
Okay.
They have a section for non-spoilers, and then they get into spoilers after they give their final opinion.
Okay, and you listened to the spoilers.
Okay. I did.
Just checking. I think I'm in a huge minority of thinking this was a fine movie. It was okay. I don't think it was bad. The first 40 minutes, I honestly kind of loved. Like it made me think it was classic Alien in terms of like the set design, and they did some unique stuff with like this mining planet that they were on, and I don't know, it just looked beautiful. They did a lot of practical stuff, and they had like the 1970s. Like, have you've seen Alien, right? Or
I love Alien.
Okay, so you know,
I'm of the opinion that the first Alien movie is the best one, and it's all kind of downhill from Aliens moving forward. I know that's unpopular, and everybody's like, Aliens is the best one. Aliens is fantastic. I didn't care for Aliens very much.
I still have yet to see Aliens. I've seen Alien, I've seen Prometheus, I've seen Alien Covenant. I haven't seen Aliens, Alien 3, the Alien Predator movies, none of that stuff.
I'll say that like the original Alien is solidly, now I've only seen the first 4 Alien movies, but the original Alien of the ones I've seen is solidly the best one.
Yeah, I really like it. It's one of my favorite sci-fi / even horror movies. I really like it, and what I liked with at least the first 40 minutes of this movie is like the practical effects that they used in something like Alien, like with miniatures and stuff, where like, yes, it's miniatures, but it looks grand, it looks big, it looks great. It's like Star Wars, like that, how Star Wars A New Hope kind of opens and you have this giant Star Destroyer like flying over, and ultimately it's just like a 6-foot miniature sort of thing, but it looks so grand and big and amazing. That's
what my ex-wife used to say about me.
But they do that sort of stuff, and they do like the classic Alien, like the 1979 this is what future sci-fi looks like stuff, where it's like CRT TVs, but like doing all the futuristic sci-fi stuff on them and stuff. It just looked cool, and the cinematography is like beautiful and stuff. And then the last half of this movie, I don't think I really like. The last half of this movie feels like, I'm not saying it is this, but kind of studio meddling, where it's like, let's throw in member berries, throw in all these member berries. But not only that, like there's like some like action schlocky stuff in the last half where it's like, this feels like a completely different movie. What happened to this like slower original Alien feel that I got with the first 40 minutes? What happened to that?
Oh, so they tried to blend a little too much Aliens into the finale.
Well, everyone who has seen like all of the Alien movies have basically said this one takes at least a couple pieces from every single Alien movie, from Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, Alien 4.
I believe that one's called Resurrection.
Resurrection, yeah. Prometheus, Alien Covenant. Like it takes something from all of them.
Yeah.
And an element from all of them and just hodgepodges it into this. And I did not like that last half. There's elements that I like in that last half. But overall, I did not like that last half compared to that first 40 minutes that I thought was great.
You know, that seems to be a trend with you and horror/thriller movies this year. That the opening is really promising, but then in the last half, when the guy's pretending to be the engine.
It's one of those things where I think people have forgotten how to make a good ending or good last half of a movie without it. The world's exploding or this big bad thing is happening. It's like, no,
there's a blue sky laser.
Yeah, like you're falling into third act disaster writing. Like, don't have to do that. You can still have stakes. You can still have big stakes, or they're big for this movie or whatever.
Yeah,
but you don't have to have all this crazy
writing.
stuff.
More like third act disastrous writing.
It ultimately is that. Yeah, everyone just doesn't know how to end a movie anymore.
Yeah. No, yeah, like that would be disappointing to me too if I went to see something that evoked more of the like original Alien, and then like by the end of the movie it's just aliens again instead. It's like, which I've gone on record saying that like I think of the four that I saw. Okay, so some people are going to consider this sacrilege, and I recognize that the fourth one especially is the worst one.
Mm-hmm.
Alien Resurrection is the worst Alien movie. I don't think there's any debate about that. But of the four that I've seen, Aliens is probably my least favorite because it's the one I had the least fun watching.
Yeah.
Now it is interesting, like when you get towards like the end of the movie and they've got like they're counting down the bullets on their turrets, like for how long they're gonna be able to hold off the horde, and like it's really interesting. It's got a lot of really interesting stuff in there.
Yeah.
But as far as the type of stress it introduces, and how much more heightened it is compared to the original Alien, because the original Alien is slow and thoughtful and genuinely tense and scary, but like not in a ooh booga booga here's the monster sort of way, but in a
right
where the hell is this thing sort of way. Like,
yeah, exactly.
You know it's there, but you just don't know where it's going to come from. Yeah. So it's a fantastic piece of horror, and the transition into action for Aliens, while still trying to maintain the tension of these things being living killing machines, it's just like so much more of that heightened Warzone survival that you get from playing Call of Duty.
Right.
Like while you're watching, it just stresses me out.
Yeah. I tried to think the point, because there were parts I was like starting to not like with Romulus as it was going on. But I think the point where like from then on, I didn't like it. There were a couple elements in between that were interesting that I kind of liked, but there's one point that really set it off for me, and the rest of the movie just went this way. They get pulse rifles, and I have no problem with that because I thought it was interesting. They have a synthetic, and the synthetic, like the past few Alien movies, is always the most interesting character in the movie. Like Andy in Alien Romulus, I think, is the most interesting character in the entire movie, and the actor did an amazing job, I think. And most people have like agreed with that. Uh, but they get these pulse rifles, and Andy is like, "Hey, like, don't actually fire those because keep in mind, acid blood, and it'll melt. We're on the bottom floor of this outpost. It'll melt through, and we're all dead. So don't do that." And they're like, "Well, what's the point of the pulse rifle?" And they're like, or Andy's like, maybe the creature will feel threatened by it. Like it's intelligent enough to feel threatened by the gun being there. And that was cool and stuff. What I didn't like, this is where I started not liking this movie, is there's a part they have like a gravity / anti-gravity thing on the ship where like to like walk around the ship, they turn on like this somewhat anti-gravity thing to where, hey, you're able to walk on the ship without floating around because we're in space, sort of thing. There's like a switch or something or a generator that can turn that off. Okay. And basically a swarm of aliens are coming toward our main character, who at this point looks exactly like Ripley, clothes and everything, hair and everything.
Okay.
Which is, there's just so many stupid member berries in this.
Oh yeah, I heard that they do the "get away from her, you bitch" line.
Oh, that's later. That
okay.
That is definitely, that's definitely something I'll have to come back to. But a swarm of aliens are just coming at her in this hallway corridor thing. I forgot what she did. She hits the gravity thing, and like stuff starts floating, and she's like, okay, now I can use the pulse rifle, and she starts shooting them, and like the acid blood happens, but it's anti-gravity, so the acid blood's just like floating and swirling and stuff. And that's fine, but then it's like a minute montage of her just like mowing down in the most like boring montage ever of her mowing down aliens as they're coming, and as she's running out of ammo, like pulse rifle ammo. And so she does that, and then once she's done, she's like, oh crap, and she realizes there's all this acid blood just floating around, and she needs to get to the other side of the hallway. She's like, oh crap, I'm gonna have to like anti-gravity swim through this without getting touched and stuff. And from her shooting the aliens and then her starting to like swim up anti-gravity style through avoiding this sulfuric acid stuff, it felt like a video game, and I didn't like that at all. It felt very stupid. I like video games, don't get me wrong, but this just felt like a video game level. And it just doesn't match with the first 40 minutes of this movie. And the rest of the movie just keeps going downhill from there. There's the line you had just mentioned, Andy. God, this scene sucked as well. They were in an elevator shaft and they were climbing up and stuff, and anti-gravity thing happens, and the anti-gravity gets turned off, and Andy jumps and he lands on a xenomorph, and they go like plummeting to the bottom. He lands on the xenomorph, like killing it because they went really fast going down. And he like says to the xenomorph, because Andy also has like he has a defect to him, like a big defect that partially, and I'm okay with this. It partially comes off as like slightly on the spectrum.
Okay.
It makes sense in the movie. Because it's also a reveal, like in the first like 15 minutes of like, oh, that's a synthetic. Like you just think it's like a human that just has like this quirk to him. But it's explained. But anyway, lands on the xenomorph is dead, and he's like, get away from her, you bitch. Like it he like
like he knows
that he's like almost like meta aware of this line. and like his system is almost like, where did that come from? Like almost like he didn't say it. Almost like it was such a weird moment. And there's other moments like that where it's like direct lines from previous movies and stuff that
it makes me
just so fan service bullcrap sort of stuff.
That makes me think of Star Trek Into Darkness, when Benedict Cumberbatch is introducing himself, and he almost looks at the camera and says, "I am Khan." like everyone is supposed to know who that is. Yeah, the audience knows who that is, but why are you saying that? Like, and like, why are Kirk and Spock reacting like they know who that is?
Yeah.
When clearly they don't.
Yeah, all of these lines that they are throwing into this that are like a callback, and it really is the last half of the movie. The first half of this movie has like inspirations from these other movies, but it never feels like we're pulling something from the other movies.
Yeah.
The last half is literally we're just pulling stuff from these other movies and throwing them in here, and we're making it this big grand scale to where she's floating through freaking acid blood, swimming like it's a video game level. It's just, everyone loves this movie, and I feel like Stan. Well, I feel like Stan in South Park. There's an episode in South Park where Stan, he turns 10 years old, and everything becomes shit to him.
Yeah.
When he turns 10 years old, everything changes. The food he tastes, the movies he sees, like he just sees shit. Like literally, he sees shit, and he hears like poop noises and stuff when people in the movies are talking and stuff. And like everyone around him is like laughing and enjoying it, and he feels saddened and depressed because he's like, what changed? All I did was turn 10 years old, and they play into it. It's a great episode. It's actually like a 2-part episode. I feel like Stan. like everyone loves these movies that have come out this year. And there are movies I do love from this year. I've talked about them before, but there's some recently where like everyone loves them, and like I love parts of them, but by the end of it, it's like they fumbled the bag, and it's just shit. And I'm the only one that sees it as shit. But that's not like ragging on anyone. It's more ragging on myself of like, dang it. Like, I want to get back to that point. I'm not saying this is what I'll do. What they do in that episode of South Park is Stan meets like Morpheus and some other people who are like,
of course,
you've been plugged out essentially. And now to get back into their world, here's how you do it. And they give him a bottle of Jameson. They're just like, chug it down. And then like Stan's walking around all drunk and stuff. He's like, whoa, this is great. So like that's what I have to do or something.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but I did not like the last half of this movie. There's elements I like. There's a human alien hybrid that is horrifying at the end of this movie that comes about, that I like the design and stuff. But yeah, most of this last half of the movie I did not like. I'm in the minority, and now I got to get plugged back in.
All right.
So I'll go find a bottle of Hennessy.
Well, I'll make sure to only pay for half a ticket when I go, and then once we get into the second half of the movie, I'll just get up and leave.
I honestly, I think I told my sister about it, or I told someone about it. I was like, man, if I could just do it over again. I said exactly what you just said. I said, I'll just walk out at the 40-minute mark and be like, that was a great 40-minute short film.
With no resolution. But
with no resolution, I don't know if they get off the ship or not, if they survive the ticking clock thing. But man, it was a good ride.